Rolling. Icecast is rolling.
My hair looks shit because I've been wearing a motorcycle helmet.
Well, it looks better than mine, so I'm not gonna.
No, it's kind of hard to
Huh?
get your hair out of shape, to be honest.
Mine, yeah, it is. It is these days.
Well,
unless my head gets out of shape, and then I'm really in trouble.
That's the upside. That's
true. That's very true.
Positive.
Okay. Stop this.
I just need to post links everywhere.
Okay.
So
what time is it now? Well, we've got just under 2 hours, roughly, before I need to go and sort this stuff out. So that's like plenty of time.
Your mafia.
Yeah, something like that.
Paperwork, you were saying?
Yeah, it's actually for to stop me going to jail, I hope. Well, no, it's not that serious. It's basically it's for a community interest company that I'm a director of, and we have to submit.
Some money.
Yeah, you have to submit a tax return, and you have to do all this other stuff every year. You have to submit accounts to the company's house every year.
Form 990?
Something like that. And I've got to sign them because they're due in this week, and I didn't realize that.
You've left them until this week.
I had nothing to do with it. I'm like a silent director.
A likely story.
Yeah. I'm a silent director. So the other guys just done them, and he's going to bring them round.
So you don't talk much.
No, not really. Not at all, really. As far as that goes.
At like 10 in the evening.
We're not. He's going to do it tomorrow, but I can't. I can't catch up with him tomorrow. Yeah, so I need to sign it now. Otherwise, it's not official. Apparently, and you can get fined, and I don't want to get fined because that would be bad. Go
to jail.
Yep. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Go directly to jail, or whatever they say. What's going on here?
Okay. Come on, Twitter.
Oh, it's not updating.
It's being slow, right? Now Google Plus, and then we can go. Does this work?
Linux Outlaws is proud.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That sounds like it works. Okay, yeah. My computer is being slow. It's the heat.
Yeah. It's been a little bit cooler here today, not a lot, but a bit.
No, it's been a bit cooler here this morning, but it's not really not cool enough. Not working out. This is so slow. Bloody hell. I'm doing too much things at once on this computer, apparently. Yeah, just give me another minute.
Yeah.
Why doesn't? Oh, no, it doesn't work. I have to do it again. Now I have to copy this again. Oh, bloody hell.
What's this? Google Plus isn't posting.
No, it's just my computer's not copy and pasting. My computer's generally not doing what I want it to do right now, which isn't special. That just happens, and then you click a button, and it takes like fucking ages to do anything. And now we do that, and now we can start, I think. Yeah, I think we can start.
Okay.
What say you?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are, I think. Actually, I should start my recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, I'm recording. I've got 2 hours and 15 minutes, that should be.
Okay, let's do this thing now.
Linux Outlaws is proudly sponsored by Bytemark UK. Check out their Big V platform for all all your web hosting needs. Find out more at bitemark.co.uk. Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules. Space!
Hello everybody and welcome to Linux Outlaws episode 355. I'm Fab in Isernhagen, Germany, where I'm drinking the biggest martini of the world out of a tiki glass.
Hey everyone, this is Dan coming to you from Liverpool in the UK, where I'm drinking not the biggest glass of Pepsi in the world. Other soft drinks are available.
Yeah. This is actually Noël Lipra.
Nil Pois?
Noël Lipra from France with gin. It's very nice.
Yeah. I thought you were saying Nil Pois at first. I thought maybe that was a Eurovision.
No, it's probably completely wrong. It's more like Noël Lipra or something.
It's French, so all bets are off. It's pretty hard to pronounce. Yeah, it's good to be back. This is episode 355. We got a bit of news to talk about. Some open sourcey stuff, some not so techie stuff as usual. No World Cup Outlaws. I know you're all sad to hear that because that's finished now. But I'm sure we'll find something else. And a bit of feedback. I'm
testing something new on the YouTube thing. There's this new thing called Showcase, where you can share links with your audience.
Oh, cool.
And I just shared a link to a Noël.
How does that work? People can click on the video.
Apparently, it probably turns up in YouTube. I don't know. I'm testing this. We'll see when the video is on YouTube. Anyway, sorry to. This link will of course also be in the show notes for the podcast listener.
Yeah, at sixgun.org if you wanna check it out. If you're watching the show later or listening to the show later. I didn't know they brought that in. Let's hope it works. That's pretty cool. Meanwhile, you've been up to some exciting things over the weekend, or over the last week, I should say. So do you want to start off by telling us about those?
Well, first of all, of course. What? First of all, I went to the bank to get like 7,000 euros out of the bank, which our local bank didn't have, so they had
with the shotgun.
Yeah, exactly, with that shotgun from the other day. And then they didn't have enough money, so they went, we'll ring up the other, the office in the neighboring hamlet, and they didn't have enough money, so I had to drive a bit to get it. And then I drove and I bought a motorbike, the one I talked about, a Moto Guzzi. It's an Italian motorbike. It's a Moto Guzzi. 407 special, a very, very, very nice bike.
Nice. Yeah. So what was it? 7,000 euros. I mean, I'm not made of money, and I know that's quite a fair amount of money, but that doesn't seem that much for a bank to have in its,
Well,
vault
they have
or whatever.
a limit. They can only give. Apparently, they can only give you, I don't know, 5,000 or something.
Okay.
And then the other bank literally didn't have enough money, but that was Großburg-Wedel. That's where the rich people were.
Right.
And this was a Friday, so I think they just need more money for weekend. I don't know how much these posh people withdraw, but apparently.
Well, I was going to say. I mean, I'm imagining 7,000 euros, probably a couple of nights in a hotel and some meals and stuff for people like that.
Yeah, it's basically brunch for
brunch,
them.
Yeah. That's some throwaway money. Very cool. So you've been you've been burning up and down the roads of Isenhagen or
Yeah,
nearby?
I've been writing it on the weekend. Wasn't on my computer. Uncharacteristically for me, I wasn't at my computer at all the whole weekend. Drove around a bit, and this morning I went, got a license plate. I got it changed over to this. I bought it. It still had a license plate from the shop I bought it at. Actually, my parents bought it. My mother found a really good deal, and then they bought it down in the rural area and drove it up here, which was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So no accidents yet.
No, I'm hoping not to have accidents. Such a nice bike, it'd be a shame.
Yeah. No jumps yet. You haven't attempted any.
No, I'm a very leisurely driver.
Oh,
I
right.
drive very
When are you going to try and drive over like 3 burning trucks like Evel Knievel would?
My boss.
Just on the way to work, like. Woo!
My boss at Heise actually drives races. He's like a.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, he's like a motorbike race driver. He's mad.
Okay, you'd have to be, yeah.
Way. He's like a daredevil type kind of guy.
Okay, yeah. You'd have to be a bit mad to do that.
All day he sees like security, and then he goes out, insecurity, fucking bike driving!
Maybe he needs to do that. Maybe that's how he balances things out. You never know. I
gotta tell you, I was driving home from work today, and it's really nice after a very long day at work today again.
Yeah, and it's dramatically lowered your traveling time as well.
Yeah, I went down from like an hour to 20 minutes, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
This is such a beautiful bike. It reminds me a bit of it's not a shopper, but it reminds me a bit of a Harley. You're sitting like at the lights, and it's they're very this is a bike for real men. It's not one of those bikes where you're driving like you're in a car. It's like you're sitting at the lights and it's idling and it just goes and like shakes the shit out of your glasses and shit. It's so nice.
Okay.
And it's very loud. Everybody kind of looks at me, which is cool.
Okay. Yeah. So, are you when are you getting like your custom leathers with the flame up the side and all that shit?
Yeah, no.
And a helmet with the a Linux.
But I used the first license I got was a scooter license, and I think we talked about that once. I had one of these Italian open helmets. That was like it was painted like marble, the whole helmet, and then had flames. All over the helmet, looked like fucking Daredevil. I still have that helmet somewhere, but I'm not. I'm over the age where you're driving with an open helmet. That's a bit. I wondered if you meant Ghost Rider rather than Daredevil. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, Ghost Rider.
I thought you probably meant Ghost Rider. Sorry, I'm a comic book geek. I have to get these things right.
Rider, in the sky.
Not a great film, to be honest. Great comic book, not a great film. Nicolas Cage. Ooh. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what they say. Yeah, I was going to say I'm more of a treasure protector. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so that's cool. And also, you've not content with having a new bike to play with. You've also started blogging on a 1960s typewriter.
Yeah.
As you do.
I went the whole hipster. Actually, I discovered. I was researching the we talked about the typewriter story, the NSA, the German NSA, Bundestag.
Yeah, and bug-in typewriters,
Yeah. And so I discovered something called typecasting, which is people that write blog posts on typewriters, which I did a few of those, it's kind of cool. I found a really cool blog. There's a blog called X Over It. He's a typewriter collector. He blogs about the new typewriter he's got, and he writes the post on the typewriter, so you can see the font and everything.
Yeah, but when you say it's typecasting, is that like video and yourself writing it?
No, it's just called typecasting. It's basically you write the blog post and then you scan it in.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And what I did, of course, because we have a bit of history of accessibility on the show, so I always try to think of that. So I scanned it in, and then I had a bit of experience with Linux OCR software.
OCR, yeah.
And OCR'd it and then fixed it up, and I actually found a way. I actually put it in the blog post. If you look at the latest blog post with the typewriting stuff, if you look at it, it's just typewritten notes. It's just the pages.
Mm.
I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. The blog post called "Too Many Games, Not Enough Time," and it's
Okay.
if you normally look at it, you just see the typewriter pages. But if you look at the source code, you'll figure out that I also put the text in there. It's just invisible. It's just so that screen readers can
I can read it. Yeah.
can see it.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And apparently, it uses a font called Continental Congress Elite.
Yeah.
That's quite a name, isn't it? It looks like Courier to me. It looks very much like the kind of standard Courier, fonts that you get, the typewriter ones.
Yeah, Courier is kind of a type. Well, there is a very famous typewriter font called Elite, which is from German typewriter manufacturer. This is an Olympia. It's basically an Olympia SM6, I think. And yeah, and this is a variation of that font. There's actually a Google Web font called Typewriter Elite, which kind of emulates it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so no, this is an this is a SM9. And it's lovely. It's like mint green. Or
very nice looking.
Yeah. If it's green or blue, it's kind of like, it's like a surf color. It's like one of those surf guitars, like Fender used to do the Tornado and the Strat in that color in the 60s.
Yeah, it depends how the light falls on it as well. It's one of those kind of colors where
it's one of those,
sometimes it looks different. Yeah. So you're a regular Jessica Fletcher now with your.
It's awesome. It's really fun. It's like that. Even better than
you solved any crimes yet?
Yeah, no.
You haven't sold any crimes on your motorbike. See, already I'm thinking of it. There's a story here. You've got a motorbiking journalist who solves crimes with his green typewriter. I mean, it practically writes itself.
Oh my God, I'm going to write novels with that character in it. That's brilliant. That's
brilliant. You all heard it. You all heard it here first. I want 10%.
Awesome. Well, you earned it. I'm gonna. That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write the manuscripts on the typewriter. How cool will that be? I mean,
you need a snappy title, though. I can't think of one at the moment. I'm just thinking, like Diagnosis Murder for Thingy, that horrible Dick Van Dyke show. We need something that works, like some kind of pun thing that
like
works.
Something with breaking news.
Phones.
Breaking.
Yeah. There's got to be something anyway. You can write in. People will write in probably better suggestions. So if you want to send us suggestions,
yeah, at 6gun.org. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you can email linuxoutlaws@6gun.org with your suggestions for Fab's typewriter-based crime-solving antics.
Forgot the email address there for a second. Yeah, I want that for my mechanical keyboard. That. Bing!
Yeah, and then
Bing! It's so cool. And this thing's amazing. It's from about 1966. It still works perfectly.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty impressive.
I read, like, on another typewriter blog, there's this guy who lives in Hong Kong who collects typewriters, and he says in China they still use them apparently. And there's the guy who repairs typewriters, and he says quotes him, his typewriter repairman in Hong Kong, who says, "You can't destroy a German typewriter. You can always."
Wow. What's that? Yeah, makes you think of, was it Volkswagen? He used to have that Versprung durch Technik or whatever it was.
Vorsprung durch Technik.
Yeah.
That's Audi.
Is it Audi? Yeah, I knew it was one of them.
Volkswagen is das Auto. I don't know if you have it over there as well, but in Germany it's just das Auto, literally.
Doesn't that just mean like car or something?
It means the car.
The car.
Auto. Right, okay. That's literally their slogan. Well, the Renault for a long time had Renault Créateur d'Automobile, maker of cars.
Well, you can't fault them for their honesty, can you? Really? All right, and so we talked last week about the well, there's been lots of Malaysian kind of airline disasters recently, but the shooting down of a MH17 flight over Ukraine, and so far, I mean, we said we'd talk about any developments, but there doesn't seem to have been a lot other than people kind of pointing fingers at Putin, which they were last week as well.
Yeah, on the Spiegel, there's a huge their big headline story this week is like someone's got to stop Putin.
Right.
All these people who died in Ukraine, which is apparently Putin's fault, not the fault of the government who's like bombarded their own citizen with like mortars and artillery in their homes. It's all Putin's fault, of course.
Yeah, whoever's fault it is, it's it's pretty crazy. I don't know. I mean, it's fashionable.
Pretty much everybody's fault down there.
I was going to say it's fashionable to blame Putin, but he definitely has some blame in this. But I don't think he's alone.
Well, but it looks like they're doing quite a good job, like taking themselves apart.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, you could blame Obama as much as Putin. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure a lot of people would.
I mean, weirdly, I think Germany's to blame as well. I think the whole handling of that Euromaidan, you know. I mean, I can understand why. I mean, we were like this in Egypt. We did a show on, when the Arab Spring was starting, and I was like completely hopeful, and this is going to be awesome, and it's going to be freedom. And I think we learned then that this kind of revolution shit is, I should have just looked at the French Revolution and shouldn't have been so naive and idiotic as I was back then. And I think in Ukraine, same thing happened. It was just a lot quicker. The West said, "Oh, this Euromaidan stuff is great. This is gonna be freedom," and then the whole country falls to shit. And now apparently it's Putin's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Egypt situation hasn't been great. Well, I mean, hopefully things will improve. That's all we can say.
Putin certainly didn't start like the Euromaidan protest. I mean, he was behind the guy who was in power.
I was going to say he was involved in fucking up the country, though. So.
Well, yeah, they blame him for first they blame Putin for being for the guy. Yeah, he was fucking up the country, but he was like giving it stability as well. So they blame him for being him, and then afterwards the country falls apart, and then they blame him for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't have it always, but I mean, you can't forget this is a guy who periodically turns the gas off to freeze them when he feels like it, and he wants to teach them a lesson. In Ukraine,
they did owe him like what $200 billion or something.
Well,
see if you owe that to America and you're dependent on their gas, and see if Obama doesn't like just keeps giving you free gas.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I'm gonna have to run a hell of a gas bill to do that.
Putin hates the gays, so of course
there is that.
And the dogs.
He's quite a hateful guy. He seems to hate a lot of people. Anyway, so moving on from hatred to something which will make a lot of people happy, I imagine. That is
friendship. Moving on from hatred to friendship, which is magic.
Yeah, which is magic. Hasbro, the famous toy manufacturer who made a lot of popular toys in the 80s, and they made a lot of the stuff like Transformers and G.I. Joe and all these other things. But they always seem to be a Hasbro advert on. It was either them or Mattel. I remember roughly from the 80s. It felt like anyway. And they've teamed up with Shapeways, which is a 3D printing site, and they're letting people print their fan art of My Little Pony. So all the bronies are going to be happy with this. All the 3D printing bronies, I suppose. They've got. They actually, I mean, they look quite well made. I had a look at them before. They look like they've been quite well done. Not that I would particularly.
Pony-shaped dildos.
Yeah. So there's some screenshots. You'll find them in the show notes if you follow the links to the story. There's some screenshots, and people have basically designed these. Fans have designed them, and now they can get them printed. And to be honest, I think, well, I'm not massively, into My Little Pony. I think it's quite interesting that a company like Hasbro, you'd expect to be stamping all over this, has, to some degree seen the light a little bit and decided to let people actually do that if they want.
Because friendship is magic.
Because, apparently that's what it is. So, I mean, it's interesting that they're doing this. You can go to, where are we now? Yeah, it's on Shapeways, which is here we go. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to find it. There you go. Apparently, yeah, it's a groundbreaking partnership, according to this blog anyway, according to this news site.
Fast Company. Yeah.
Yeah, Fast Company. Fastcompany.com.
Not exactly a blog, but.
Well, no, it's not. Well, you know me. I call everything a blog.
Yeah.
I call everything a blog. Anything with words in it.
So as a journalist, I'm offended.
Yeah. You still work for that blog over there.
The blog.
Yeah, that blog. I mean, they print it out and put it in a magazine, but it's essentially a blog.
Blog.
Yeah, it's a physical blog. And you do it on a typewriter now as well.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Actually, I brought it home. I didn't use it in the office because the mechanical keyboard already pisses people off. I don't want to. I don't want to see what happens if I start working on the typewriter. They'll just
okay, so you're happy to ride around on your noisy motorbike, but you don't want to don't upset people with your typewriter.
I'm not like driving around in the office.
Right. You don't sit outside revving it in the car park? Or...
Sometimes. I did today.
Okay.
You know, first day at work with the new motorcycle. But like, if I do that with the typewriter in the office, I get like one day I get on my motorcycle and I drive off and I during the corner I'll just figure out that like all the screws are missing from the brake or something. Or like I try to corner and the bike just goes on because the wheel's not attached to the. Whatever.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Here's something you might be interested in actually from this. It says, as I mentioned, like you wouldn't expect someone like Hasbro to kind of allow this. Yeah, in this article it says corporations usually won't let fans go very far with their IP or when their IP is involved. Take the Fox network, which had turned a blind eye to knit hats inspired by the late cult series Firefly. Being made and sold by fans online, but then tried to put the kibosh on the whole thing after ThinkGeek.com began selling mass-produced and in quotes, hit my mic there, in quotes, officially licensed versions in 2012. So I don't know if somebody starts mass-producing these 3D printed My Little Pony things, maybe they'll stop it.
That whole Foxing wasn't really successful because brown coats basically, and Adam Baldwin, Jane, the hero of Kenton himself, was like on Twitter with one of the heads saying, "How can they ban this?" And then Nathan Fillion posted about this, and not only Firefly fans, but then also all the Castle fans got outraged. And, yeah. See, our story would be a bit like Castle.
Yeah, a little bit, but no, with a slightly different angle, I think. Have you seen this? So back to the. I know we've kind of moved on from Putin now, but someone
discovered the dildos.
No, Monkey Bone in the IRC. I missed this. Posted about 4 or 5 minutes ago. A thing called Putin on the Ritz.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about that.
Yeah, it's a Ritz biscuit, which is one of those little cracker things, cheese biscuit things. It's basically rolling along, and Putin's kind of like riding it. It's just all a bit weird.
I love that. There was what was the one no agenda I had when the whole thing was kicking off? They had it's something like Putin sings famous songs or something like that. Yeah. Is this the animated GIF? Yeah,
it's an animated GIF. Yeah.
Yeah.
Animated GIFs seem to I may be wrong, but it seemed to me like animated GIFs were massive in about 2000, maybe a little bit after 2000. Then they kind of died down for a while. You didn't see as many, and now they're huge. Like everybody's getting into them.
Then Google Plus came along, and then Twitter added them recently. I've just put it. I'll put it in the show notes, and I also put it on the YouTube thing.
Okay. So you can look up.
Mesmerizing. It's the one where he's riding without a shirt on, except it's on a biscuit.
On a biscuit, yeah, it's very odd. All right, and so what else have we got to mention?
Epic. Putin on the Ritz.
Putin on the Ritz. Yeah, it's very good actually.
I wanted to mention there was a Firefox release. Oh no, it's in the show notes.
Now it's animated in the show notes.
Automatically, okay. I gotta scroll past that, otherwise it's just gonna.
Yeah, it's quite distracting.
I could watch this for hours.
Just needs a bit of music, doesn't it?
There was a Firefox release, the Firefox and Chrome release. I have released every 5 minutes now. There's fuck all in it. So I just want to put down a new rule. We're not gonna mention Firefox or Chrome releases unless there's something in there that interests us. Because Chrome updates automatically anyway. You don't know. And Firefox, if you're really interested in this, you'll know. You can look it up at the Mozilla site, or Firefox keeps notifying you, and you'll see news stories about it. I just don't want to talk because we talk about it every time, and there's there's fuck all in it. Oh, they release every 2 months now.
Yeah, we do, and they release a lot, and Chrome as well. So I don't know. Maybe we should mention every time they get another 10 releases out or something. So every couple of weeks.
Something interesting in it. I'll have an eye on it. If there's something interesting in it, we'll talk about it.
Something more than a font change or something. Than they seem to have.
Font changes in there. There's just now there's edit
optimizations.
Edit new icon to the menu. Yeah, all optimizations. There's security fixes. Oh.
Yeah, that figures. All right, and so speaking of releases, this is what I noticed when I started updating my sites the other day. Yeah, somebody asked a while ago why we didn't mention Drupal releases that much, and to be honest, I don't know why we never did. So, because I do maintain a number of Drupal sites, and I keep getting emails saying, you need updates. So there's a new major version came out last week at some point. And I installed it on, I don't know, I think it was the 23rd, something like that, last week. It's Drupal version 7.29 is out now. Mostly bug fixes after us saying we weren't going to mention things that weren't. Well, at least Drupal doesn't release every week. So they've fixed quite a number of security vulnerabilities, apparently. And they seem quite serious about this because I saw a lot of news all over the place saying that people need to upgrade quickly, and you need to upgrade quickly because of a number of security flaws. So they fixed that now. Apparently, it says here there are some known issues with the upgrade. Okay, that's a bit worrying. Known issues. This release introduced serious regression. That's a pretty major issue.
This release is shit.
Yeah. Well, more on that later.
Well, this was 2.29 and 2.30.
7.29, you mean?
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Drupal 2 was a long time ago, 10 years ago.
Big. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Drupal 7.30 is out though.
Yeah, that's just come out as well. That came out
24th of July.
24th, yeah. So you should probably upgrade. You should upgrade both of them.
Link in the show notes too.
And the major changes since 7.29 are fixed a regression introduced in Drupal 7.29.
More bugs we fixed
and added a warning to the permissions page to recommend restricting access to viewing site reports. Okay, interesting. So they've had some security issues, but they're taking care of them. They're pretty good like that. The Drupal project.
That's good. Well, they should be. This is a big site.
It is, yeah, and it's very popular as well.
Otherwise, Obama gets hacked because White House is running it, and
the White House is running it, and
the White House files bug reports with Predator drones. I
Probably.
believe the complaint, the bug report's written on the front of a Hellfire missile.
Yeah, regress this, you bastards.
Yeah.
Introduce some major regression.
Hi, everybody. Some Drupal developers took down my website. I don't like it when folks are doing this, so I'm droning the bastards.
Yep. And then we got first stable.
Obama always says folks. Folks
yeah.
this, folks that.
I say that quite a bit, but I don't know where I got that from. I often say if I've got a collective of people.
Neil Young says that a lot, but if you're like a banjo-toting fucking country singer.
Well, obviously I am. You didn't know that.
Well, yeah, people expect that from you, but with your president of the United States, it would only be worse if you said bro all the time.
Oh, that would be really bad. No, I like that. I think it's good that he says folks. It gives him a man of the people. I don't know.
Bro, I discovered a really good video game the other day.
Okay.
Broforce?
Broforce?
Yeah, it's like a pixel shooter.
Okay, I'm looking this up now.
It's like 80s. You start it's like you play 80s action heroes.
Okay.
But because they don't have the name for licensing reasons, they're all called like, instead of MacGyver, it's like Bro Guyver or something, and it's
Okay.
Ram Bro,
Oh, I
and it's
see.
like
Yeah.
Sylvester
And there's Mr.
Brolone.
T as well.
Yeah, it's no Mr. Bro or something. Yeah,
Yeah, obviously, yeah, but he's clearly Mr. T.
that's an awesome game.
Oh yeah, that's like an old 8-bit type game. It looks very cool, actually.
It's really good.
It's on Steam apparently as well.
Yep.
So.
I'm gonna get this. I haven't bought it yet, but it looks really cool.
Okay. Is it part of the Humble Indie bundle or something? It's got a Humble.
It might have been at some point.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably just in the Humble store.
Oh, okay.
It's like there's huge explosions and shit, and you're like every one of them has like special weapons. The bros, you unlock the bros, and then you get more bros.
Wow.
There's
okay.
lots of bros. Oh yeah, there's Snake Bros
Bro skin. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's actually been nominated.
I love their whole sites, like local bro up play and online multiplayer bro up. Unlockable bros.
That's pretty cool. It looks like it's been nominated for quite a few awards and actually won some awards as well. It says South by Southwest Gamers Voice nominee 2014.
It's amazing. For every terrorist killed in Broforce, a terrorist will die in real life.
Okay. Yeah, it looks very cool. I like it. It looks like an old arcade game, an old 80s kind of arcade game to me. I don't understand why there are pigs running across the bottom. It doesn't maybe you have to play the game to understand that.
Why not?
Well, yeah, fair enough. I suppose why not? The pigs are like square because they're all 80s. Yeah, fair enough. So that looks quite cool actually. So we'll put a link again in the show notes if you want to check that out. Yep. All right, and so more releases to mention. This is quite an interesting one. We've talked a lot about
the release, or if they're just labeled a version.
But, yeah, maybe. Well, we've talked a fair bit about Docker, which is the the modular
the hot shit these days.
Modular cloud hosting thing that people are really into right now. They've released they've either released or rebadged, doesn't matter which, a version of Core OS, which is their kind of operating system, their base OS. It's basically Linux with Docker on top of it and some other bits as well. And they've released it as a stable version at last. They're calling it it's Core OS 367.1.0. Our first version, the Bro version. Our first version on the stable channel. It says so. They've announced a new channel basically, which is this stable channel, and it's got a release in there. Yeah, and they've got support it says support on all major cloud providers, including Rackspace Cloud, Amazon EC2, and Google Compute Engine.
Cloud.
Yeah, it's very cloudy, this. It's a cloudy cloud
I'm going to create a cloud service called Bro Cloud.
Bro Cloud.
Only for
Cloud
bros.
Bro. Cloud Bro? No, Bro Cloud, yeah. Yeah. So that's out now. Sysadmins may be interested in that. I don't know if you want to play around with it. Or lots of people, as we said, getting excited about Docker and so on. So
they released this on Sysadmin Day, which is pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Oh, they announced this. We've got a new version of Geary 070. This is the email client from Yorba. It's a major overhaul of Email Composer, now inline in many windows and redesigned. No, inline in main window. I can't read. It's a gin. Composer will automatically add signature to emails. That's handy. It's early days for this email client, in case you can't tell. They improved the interface. The database speed optimization is always good. Improved connection retry, various bug fixes, and they updated the translations.
Have you ever tried this out of interest?
I did, and I think I talked about it on the show, and it was way too. It was
too early, wasn't it?
I think it didn't do something like really basic, like reply to all addresses or something like but it was like something that was so integral to using an email client that I couldn't use it anymore. But it kind of looks cool, and we need this because I use Thunderbird every day now. I
So do
basically
I.
use Alpine as well, but I can't use that 100% because it's just like I just need something that's graphical for work. It's just I don't know. And Thunderbird is horrible. It sucks. It's getting worse. It's slow. You search stuff, it doesn't find it. It crashes. It has this habit of like you leave it alone, you come back to your computer. It's like eaten half of your RAM, literally like 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's been losing emails for me recently. And by that I mean it's deleted it off the fucking IMAP server, which is not handy at all. Even if I haven't deleted it, it's I need something else.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I have my issues.
Don't tell me to use Soulfeed. Please.
Clearly, you need to install Windows and get Outlook. Yeah. No, I'm joking. No. Yeah. I use Thunderbird on most of my. In fact, no, all of my systems now I think about it. And, it definitely has its issues, but so far I haven't had any of the issues you've mentioned, so fingers crossed. It hasn't deleted any mails, unless I just haven't noticed. That's always possible. Anything it's deleted I didn't need anyway. That's a feature, not a bug, as Microsoft would say. So I mean, Geary is interesting. 0.7.0, as we said, is out now. The mail client's kind of space, if you want to call it that, has become a bit kind of staid and predictable.
This is now the default on elementary OS,
which
is kind of interesting.
That is interesting because they push a kind of a highly user-friendly system and so on, so they must be really happy with it. And it probably is more user-friendly.
Well, it kind of looks clean. Looks a lot cleaner than fucking Thunderbird.
Yeah, that's true. I know quite a few people.
Fork called Brobird.
I think I'm just thinking about it now. I know quite a few people who use like Roundcube on a browser rather than other things, which I don't quite understand because as much as I like Roundcube, I wouldn't want to use it as my main only kind of web, email client. Anyway, so speaking of the web, wasn't really, but I've shoehorned it in. Apache 2.4.10 is out now. We talked about Apache last week.
Yeah, we talked about the security vulnerabilities, and this is the release. We talked about it being fixed in the dev version, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And now.
That's right. Yeah. Excellent, and it looks like most of the distributions are getting themselves together and sorting that out, which is good. Apart from Debian, which uses 2.2.22, a lot of twos in that. Anyway, because they're not on 2.4, which is interesting. So if you are using Apache, make sure you get it up to date.
There was a critical vulnerability in a number of Cisco modems and consumer routers, and these are cable modems.
Okay. Thank God I don't have cable.
Well, one model is actually in use in Germany. It is my ISP uses it, Kabel Deutschland, and the other Unity Media uses it as well in Germany, and they've recently bought Kabel BW, and they use it as well. The interesting thing about this is Cisco announced this now and released firmware updates. The German providers I talked to, I wrote about this and said that this was a problem, and that some German providers use these modems, and they got back to me and told me that they haven't been vulnerable to this. They had apparently gotten a fixed firmware in 2012, and I wasn't able to figure out why they had fixed firmware in 2012 and why Cisco.
I'm not told Cisco or not.
I don't know. Well, the firmware I think came from Cisco because these ISPs, they have their own
Oh, good point. Yeah, because it's nice, like Cisco do open source software.
Well, no,
So
they have their customized. Large ISPs will have their customized interface and stuff, and other stuff they change because, especially with VoIP, which is very prevalent these days, and so they change stuff in the interface. So I think they got a version from Cisco, which they've adapted like they always do, or Cisco adapted for them. And apparently that was fixed. The question is, why didn't Cisco go public with the vulnerability? It might be that it's a regression. Could be that it was
they've introduced a regression.
It could be
seems to be the theme of the episode.
Well, it could be that it's a bug from either it's a bug from 2012 that was open in the public firmware this long. Or it wasn't in the public firmware, and they now introduced something to the public firmware that they had included in the ISP firmware in 2012, and then had to fix it again or something. I don't know. Maybe they forgot about the bug. They basically reintroduced the bug they had in another firmware tree, which well, I mean, it is conceivable. Cisco has a lot of code.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Facepalm, I imagine
I've always thought the Cisco code was good. Which I went to the colleagues that do the router stuff, the networking department at CT, and I was telling them about this, and I was like, I don't understand why they didn't fix this. It's like, and they're like, oh, this sure sounds like a regression. It's like, but Cisco, they have version control, and they do enterprise software, they know how this works. And I just look at my colleagues, and they just look at me like, and laugh, and they're like, really, you're that naive? Let me tell you about Cisco, son.
Oh wow, yeah.
Let me tell you something we learned in the last 30 years of CT.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose everyone makes mistakes, but that's pretty bad. It is pretty bad going.
I just want to know why this was fixed in the ISP firmware.
That is really weird, yeah.
Get back to me on that, of course.
Meanwhile, completely off topic, I missed something brilliant in the IRC again, so I'm going to drag us back to not an earlier conversation.
No worries.
But we were talking about you wanted to have, you were saying you're going to make a cloud OS and call it Bro Cloud, and I think Monkey Bones come up with the best name possible. He said you should call it Cumulo Nimbro.
That's awesome.
How good is that? Yeah, I think so. He's on at least 10%. I want 10%. So now you're going to be
sold.
Isn't that really cool? Cumulo Nimbro. I think that's an awesome cloudy name for it. Yeah, so that fits. It fits very well. Meanwhile, sticking with security stuff, I suppose. There was some news about Black Hat. Some Black Hat business shenanigans on the Tor network and how it can be an exploit they've got for Tor. Let me have a look. So what's this one about? This was at the Black Hat conference.
Yes, there was supposed to be a talk at Black Hat about de-anonymizing Tor users.
Okay.
On a budget, like I think under, was it $3,000?
Oh, $3,000 it says.
Yeah. Because we know the NSA can de-anonymize Tor users, but then it was said, well, they need a lot of resources and not everybody can do that. And this talk got pulled because apparently lawyers from the university where the two researchers that were supposed to give this talk work said, well, this wasn't cleared with the university, so they can't give this talk. Apparently the Tor Dingledine, the Tor developer.
I love that name, by the way, Dingledine.
Was it Robert?
Roger Dingledine.
Yeah, it was Robert Shingledecker, wasn't it? Shingledecker and Roger.
God damn you, Dingledine.
Dingledine has said that they got some info on the problem and they're fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a theory, I can't remember where, but somebody wrote that this might be because to do this, to test this, you'd have to capture network traffic and then de-anonymize Tor users, which might be illegal. And
I
apparently
see.
you
Yeah.
can't do in university research in the US. It's kind of can't really do. It's frowned upon. You know, it could be legal troubles if you do something that's illegal. And so because there were lawyers who said they can't give this talk instead of like executives or something, it might be that the university was just worried that they get sued.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Well, I mean, as I'm sure we've said this many times. I mean, lawyers are fantastic in lots of ways, but they're notoriously, if you need one, then lawyers are great, but they're notoriously conservative, and if there's any hint of any possible risk ever down the future they'll just be like, don't do it.
That's like saying enemas are fantastic because
if you need one, yeah.
No, they're not.
Well, if you need one, you need one.
Well, if you need your leg taken off, then an amputation is a really good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna die if you don't have your leg cut off, then
Well, yeah.
You've got an infection like a flesh-eating disease that's going to spread from your leg to the rest of your body. Then it probably is quite good that you could have it taken off.
That is okay at best.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Never fantastic.
Well, maybe good is a strong term, but
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's better than the alternative, which is whatever, having the thing spread throughout the body. I don't know how we got onto that topic anyway. Lawyers, yeah.
Like flesh-eating bacteria.
They can be, yeah. They tend to make sysadmins look like wild, reckless, crazy people who just do crazy things because
they make everybody look like reckless people.
Yeah, to some degree. We've got to be careful here because we know some lawyers who are going to upset.
Yeah, they're going to sue us.
No, I don't think they could sue. Well, maybe they could. I was going to say.
Do not say this. Don't tempt them.
They could try. No. How are they going to do that? We're in a different place. They'll have to de-anonymize us on Tor.
I'm in fucking Liverpool, mate. You can't sue me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's like we have our own diplomatic immunity thing going on. It's fine. So I mean, I suppose. Well, what's his name? Robert. I'm calling him Robert now as well. Roger Dingledine. I love that name, Dingledine. It's so fun. It's so fun to say, Dingledine.
The circus. Dingledine's traveling circus.
God damn it, Dingledine! You've done it again. He's saying that they fix this, or they can fix this. Because I'm just thinking.
Flying circus.
Dingledine's flying circus. I'm just thinking that he seems confident that they can fix this because, I mean, if this is true and it does work and they don't fix it, or they don't find a way to fix it, I mean, $3,000 is apparently you might have even been able to get that out of one bank, without having to go to two banks. That's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money, and imagine the impact it would have on Tor and so on. Tor's constantly under attack, though.
Tor's totally under attack. I don't know if I would use Tor, to be honest. You just make yourself a target. It's I don't know if it's not more trouble than it's worth. But that reminds me, I have another cool bank story. So this morning I went to the bank again, because the only money I had left over from like my transaction was a 500 euro note. One of the.
So you went to money laundering.
Well, which they don't take anyway. You just go anywhere. It's like, oh, I only have 500 euros, and they're like, I can't. It's fucking money. No, I can't take that. It's fucking money. I don't have enough to exchange. All right. Well, so then I went to the bank. Again, I was exchanging the money, and a lady comes in goes to the clerk next to me, and says, "Do you have? Can you exchange? I'll give you euro. Can you give me $2,000 US?"
What?
And the guy's like, "What? Like this? This is a German bank." When she was German, she's apparently going to travel to the US or something. She's like, yeah. It's like, well, you need to tell us beforehand. So she walks off in a huff, and he just looks. He just looks after her and looks at me and goes, "What the fuck does she want $2,000 for?"
Maybe she's getting blackmailed and she needs it quick. Maybe she hasn't got a choice.
That's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said.
For all you know, she's like, her kids are going to die now because you won't give her $2,000.
I didn't say that, but yeah, I was saying, maybe
Mm. Maybe she needs a bureau de change rather than a bank. I don't know. Yeah, possibly. By
the way, people shouldn't think that I'm rich. I'm now completely broke again. And
okay.
I saved a fucking year for this motorbike.
If there's anyone from the tax services listening, Fab is now completely broke, right? Okay, completely broke.
I gave them my bank details for the fucking motorcycle tax this morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can check. They can check then. Sticking with security stuff, there was a 0-day vulnerability in Tails 1.1, and Tails is the supposedly totally anonymous, Linux distro that Edward Snowden famously used.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a big 0-day vulnerability in it.
Well, here's the problem. I was just talking about Tor and how it's unsecure. This vulnerability is in another software that's called I2P. It's like the internet. Oh god, I'm trying to remember what that stands for, and I've promptly forgotten it again. It's the Invisible Internet Project, I2P. It's kind of like Tor, just on a packet switching level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely peer-to-peer. It doesn't have special nodes like Tor has. But apparently that has a vulnerability in it that you can exploit with. You can execute remote code on Tails through that, which then, of course, you can, at that point, all bets off, you can de-anonymize the user. This was discovered by a company very sleazy company called Exodus Intelligence. It was founded some while ago by a guy who used to run the HP's 0-day initiative. So he used to be a good guy. And he's now a bad guy. Basically, they find 0 days and then sell them to, I don't know, states, probably criminals, people who want to hack you. It's all for defense purposes, of course. This is in case, in case they'll sue us. We were talking about lawyers, allegedly to criminals,
allegedly,
and spying outfits. That's what I've read somewhere. Yeah, it's interesting outfit. I'm just looking up. I forgot. I forget everything today. It's like fuck.
It's that ride on the motorbike that's.
It's shaking my brain loose. No, I think it's actually the alcohol.
Well, you're doing that. It's taken me a while to find it, but I finally found the piece of music we should play for this. Obviously. Well, carry on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. First day, it's already too late. Obviously.
Love that
song. In case anyone doesn't know, you're going to get pissed off now with me fading this in and out. That's MC Frontalot. That track's called 0-Day, actually. So
one of the best songs ever.
It is good. Good album. No, good album as well. The whole album's good.
Yeah, the album's excellent. It's excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, 0 days we were talking about.
Yeah. The guy's called Aaron Portnoy. I don't know. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes. I hadn't seen him before. He looks like fucking.
Hold on.
Allegedly looks like a bloody Nico Bellic kind of guy.
Only in this country do you let blind people drive.
Yeah, only in this country we don't disclose 0 days to developers. We sell them to the highest bidder and make a lot of money.
Wow. It's our obsession. This isn't just a job. It's our obsession.
So he used to coordinate the 0-Day initiative, HP 0-Day initiative, which is the good guys. I mean, they try to do responsible disclosure for 0 days and protect everybody. And he went over to the other side.
Wow. He does look quite like Nico Bellic, right?
Strategic partners, so far for allegedly. DARPA. Department of Defense, NSS Labs, Iris, Charles River Analytics, Fortinet. So basically the fucking CIA.
Have a look at, I was just been looking through the pictures, of these people. This Logan Brown looks very much like the businessman of the crew. But if you click on the last one there, the one that says Zef Kekaj, I don't know how you say that. Is it me, or is that just Heed? That looks like Heed. You can only see the back of his head or the side of his head, but that definitely looks like Heed to me.
Oh yeah, that is Heed.
Isn't it? His real name is Zef Kekaj.
No, that's his undercover hacker name.
Yeah. Also, they all appear to be using MacBooks. Wankers. Anyway,
Come on, that name, Zef Kekaj, that's made up.
Zef has held a number of different professional positions during his career, including, I bet he has, including systems administrator, NOC administrator, software developer. Throughout this time, he was heavily involved in security research field, and it is his passion. In 2009, this sounds a bit like it's like the intro to the A-Team. In 2009, he took his first role. He promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade. No, into the Los Angeles underground. Yeah. So it does. Yeah, it does look quite a bit like Heed. Anyway, if he'd listened to this show, you're gonna have to look that up now. It's on the exodusintel.com/about.
I'll put a link in the show notes. I mean,
yeah, scroll down to the bottom, and then you have to click on the names to swap over
what the fuck name is Peter Freudendeal? Is he like a hobbit?
Well, you can't tell. He's sitting down, so maybe. They all seem to love their MacBook Pros by looking at it. They've all got like MacBooks.
They're evil people. I just told you they're evil.
Yeah, seems like it. Anyway, so now that they're probably busy hacking into us right now, just because we pissed them off. Yeah, somebody else who's been pissing people off as usual, well, just got pissed off on his own maybe. This week is Linus Torvalds. We all know, creator of the Linux kernel. Not a guy who keeps his opinions to himself, and he's waded into the GCC project, the GNU compiler, GNU C compiler.
This is epic.
I read his post, and well, okay. So he says. Okay, he's basically saying that GCC 4.9.0 is terminally broken, in his words. He says there is a problem with spilling. It says there's absolutely insane. Your compiler does absolutely insane things with the spilling, including spilling a constant.
Spilling alert, spilling alert, rant alert, Linus rant alert.
I was thinking more of like, he keeps saying spilling, it makes me want to say like clean up on aisle 5. Clean up on aisle 5. Spilling alert. Yeah, he says a compiler shouldn't have been allowed to graduate from kindergarten.
He's so epic.
Well, the thing is though, I mean, I read this and sure enough, he
also says it's too stupid to live.
Yeah, he does. That was the headline. So I read this thinking, he's waded into the GCC project and whatever else. No, but if you look at it, he actually says somebody should report this as a bug. Somebody needs to raise this as a bug.
No, basically what happened
and he goes on to slag it off. Well, why doesn't he raise it as a bug if it's a bug?
Basically what happened, somebody submitted a patch.
Oh.
This is Linux. So somebody submitted the patch. This is a Linux kernel mailing list. This is and he basically figured out it's something broke, and the problem is not the kernel. The problem is they built GCC 4.9.0 in a way, according to Linus, that just basically breaks everything. That's why he is pissed off, because people escalated this to him because they said, well, the kernel is broken, and it's not the kernel that is broken.
Okay, so he got a complaint. All right, that's a bit different.
Okay, let's look at this code. This, for Christ's sake, this compiler shouldn't have been allowed to graduate from kindergarten. We're talking sloth that dropped on the head as a baby level retardation here. Then he looks at the code and is like, note the contents of bar. Seriously, that's an immediate constant that the compiler is spilling, and then he talks about what's going on. And then he says where the bug is, and this is where GCC creates the stack frame after having already used it to save that constant deep below the stack frame. I'm reading this as if I knew what he was going on about, but yeah.
So basically he's pissed. He's basically blown up again.
He's running after his desk, going, "What the fuck? Who writes this compiler? This is shit."
I can't help thinking if he just had a normal desk, maybe he'd be less angry. Maybe he'd be like more relaxed and he can chill out a bit.
This is the latest Linus treadmill incident. This is Linus treadmill level 7 alert.
Yeah.
Treadmill level 7 warning.
Once again, Monkey Bone in the IRC weighs in. He's on fire tonight. Says better to be pissed off than pissed on, which is probably true.
He's awesome. You need to come up with a title for our detective story. I'm so writing this. I'm so sitting down after we done the show. I'm so specking this. I so want to write this. I so want to write this novel.
Yeah. So I haven't thought of anything yet, but maybe people will.
I need like an epic German name for the motorbike driving detective.
A German name.
Journalist, not detective.
Okay. Well, journalist who solves crime. That's in all these things. It's always like a doctor who happens to solve murders on the side, or like a lawyer who just happens to be into solving murders as well.
He's a journalist. He just turns up at the crime scene because he's got to write about it, and then you can then the police is being shit at it.
But he has to have his typewriter with him at all times. That's got to be part of the quirkiness of the character, is that he carries a ridiculously, instead of like a notebook or an iPad or something, he has a ridiculously big, oversized typewriter, and he types everything up on that.
While driving on the motorbike?
Yeah. So that has to be a quirk of the character, I think. Anyway, so yeah, Linus is back to shouting at people.
He's running after his desk, being pissed.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Controversies. There's a controversy about what the next PHP version is going to be called. Obviously, we're at PHP 5. But some people are saying it should maybe be PHP 7 next.
Why not 6?
Well, the case for PHP 7, as it says on this RFC.
Go on, yeah. Hit me with it, yeah.
No good reason not to skip version 6.
What?
Regarding the first element, it seems that many people are concerned that if we skip a version, we somehow cause confusion or break away from our versioning scheme. Yeah.
Right.
The main confusion point cited by proponents of PHP 6 was that people will wonder how come we suddenly have PHP 7 and without having PHP 6. Yeah. However, this is really much more of a trivia question than a cause for confusion.
Right.
You can say that about everything that confused me. Really, this is more of a trivia question. For obvious reasons, it will be clear that 7 is the latest version, and even if there's 6 out there, 7 is newer and better. We also wouldn't be breaking
7 is newer and better. Yeah. Right, okay.
We also, why not call it PHP 7,054,201? We also wouldn't be breaking away or even changing our current versioning scheme. We're only skipping a version while keeping everything about our versioning scheme intact. Yeah, so my question would be, why? Why skip a version?
They're obviously doing it for shits and giggles by the sound of it.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, that's the only reason I can see is that people are messing.
Wait. Strong reasons why we actually should skip version 6 into 7. There are several reasons why we shouldn't reuse version 6 for the next major reuse. Have they used it before? First and foremost, PHP 6 already existed, and it was something completely different.
Okay. You keep going on that. I'm looking at
the decimal system, or more accurately, the infinite supply of numbers we have, makes it easy to skip a version with plenty more left for future versions to come. Yeah, but they'll get cumbersome once you get over 6 million. While it's true that the other PHP 6 never reached general availability, it was still a very widely published and well-known project. I didn't know about this. Conducted by PHP.net, that was blah blah blah. PHP 6, the original PHP 6 has been discussed in detail in many PHP conferences. Okay.
Yeah, apparently it never happened. I'm reading some stuff. I found
this is like the Bermuda Triangle of PHP.
Yeah, I found a
The first rule of PHP 6 is we don't talk about PHP 6.
Yeah. I found a blog post called PHP 6 Pissing in the Wind. And I thought, that sounded quite interesting. So it's
link in the show notes just for the title. That is awesome.
It's by a guy called Phil Sturgeon. It's from last year. He says, okay, so he's talking about the reasons that people You know, a lot of people hate PHP. He's talking about the reasons that people level against PHP and so on.
Well, it's shit.
Well, yeah, okay. So anyway,
Unsecure.
yeah. So he talks about it in here, and it says one of the top reasons. Another reason people use is often joke about PHP is how PHP 6 just never happened because the team were trying to bake in Unicode support, but just came across so many issues that it never happened.
Sounds like Perl 6. What the fuck's wrong with the number 6? It breaks programming languages. That is an awesome blog title. Also, this blog post is tagged Wambulance.
It is, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Is that what's the Wambulance? It's only that one post.
You're right, yeah. I just clicked on the tag and there's nothing else there. I don't know. But yeah, apparently it never actually happened. So that's quite interesting. So it's quite a long post, but yeah, I'll read that more at my kind of leisure, I suppose.
Awesome subheadlines like PHP property assessor syntax.
So what they're saying is, I like that. Johan V says, "Who cares about in the IRC?" Says, "Who cares about version numbers? Just take a random one like Windows does." To be fair, they do tend to do that, don't they? Why do they call it PHP 2014 or something like that, or PHP ME or PHP Vista?
Pro Edition.
PHP Vista? No, I don't know.
PHP Bro Edition.
Bro, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so basically what it looks like is that there was supposed to be a version 6 that never came out, but it didn't actually come out. So, you know, and it was never finished or released. So how can you say it's already been used? Because there was a rumor that it was already being used.
Isn't it?
That's not a great argument.
It's not confusing. It's more than a trivia question.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm not that hung up on version numbers, but I do think it's a bit weird to just change. Python have already beaten this because they went Python 3000, although it's officially kind of Python 3. They called it Python 3000, and some people still do. So they jumped, what's that, 2,900 and...
Wasn't it?
You what, sorry? Yeah, I suppose.
Python 2000. That was when it was still cool, like the Night Industries 2000.
The Night Industries 2000, yeah. I'm just thinking,
2000 actually happened, and it's not cool anymore, is it?
No. I mean, people are, people get upset about them skipping one version number, but I mean, they went from version 2 to version 3000, so that's like 2,998 versions they skipped.
I like
97 versions.
I like how they're not biased at all, because whoever wrote this RFC, even under the heading "The Case for PHP 6," they basically tell you why that wouldn't be a good idea, naming it PHP 6.
Maybe it's just a publicity stunt. Maybe that's all it is. They're just trying to get attention. Who knows? Or maybe they just think it's funny.
Horrendously unsecure.
If it was April the 1st, I'd immediately dismiss this post because clearly somebody's just messing around.
Pissing in the wind.
Yeah. All right, and so what's this next one about? GOG.com rolls out Linux support.
GOG.com. Great old
games. You've just frozen for some reason. Hopefully you're going to unfreeze. What's going on there? Oh, okay.
So that killed the Hangout, didn't it?
I was going to say you rejoined, yeah. All right. Do you want me to? I'll tell you what. To make it easy to edit, I'm going to do the same thing again, and then you can explain what it is. So, GOG.com rolls out Linux support. What's this about?
GOG.com is formerly Great Old Games, I think.
Okay.
They used to start selling just like old games that you could run in a DOS box.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're basically like another Steam. They still do sell classic games, but they also sell modern games. And they announced, I think we talked about this, that they would have Linux game support.
Mm-hmm.
And now they actually have it. They said they wanted to wait for publicity reasons till they had 100 games.
Okay.
And now they have about 50, and they thought, oh fuck it, let's just do it anyway.
I see there's a couple of Sid Meier games on there.
Yeah.
Of Civilization fame. Colonization is one of them, and Covert Action is another. Duke Nukem 3D is on there.
There's lots of other games that are on Steam as well. They're on Linux, like So You Being Hunted, which is a game I always wanted to play. But as I wrote about too many games, Surgeon Simulator 2013.
Isn't that just like that game Operation, where you have to get the things out without setting the buzzer off? I imagine that's what it's like being a real surgeon, isn't it?
Really weird. It's not like being a real surgeon. It has like really
and
weird...
if you get it wrong, like the patient's nose goes red and it starts to flash red. No?
Surgeon Simulator, you should really look at it on YouTube. It's some funny Let's Plays. Basically, it has graphics that are halfway between really cute and absolutely disgusting. They're both
looking
cute
it
and
up.
disgusting. It's
Bloody hell! I typed the word surgeon into Google, and before I get any further, Surgeon Simulator and Surgeon Simulator 2013 are the top two suggested searches.
You don't spend much time on YouTube, do you?
No, is it? Oh, ooh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I see what you mean. It is a bit.
It is.
It's a bit graphic.
Especially when things go wrong. It's horrible. In a weird way.
Okay.
Germans like the simulator games, famously.
Apparently so. There's also Minecraft Surgeon Simulator, apparently.
People rebuild it in Minecraft, yeah.
Okay, interesting. No, I haven't played that, and I haven't looked at it. But you never know. I still prefer Operation myself. I'm more of a 3D kind of real world guy.
I prefer, as you know, Euro Truck Simulator.
Yeah, okay.
With the Oculus Rift. Oh, that reminds me. Apparently, we're gonna get the new Oculus Rift at Heise tomorrow. Like,
does that mean there's going to be a massive queue of people waiting to play with it?
It's the first people I heard about that got it. We are really early in the queue, apparently. Cool.
That is cool. Are you getting Surgeon Simulator for that? So you can stand there and pretend to scalpel people and no?
I find surgeries disgusting.
Oh, okay.
It's just I can't stand it. I'm just gonna drive around in Euro Truck Simulator all day tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough. That's when you've got everyone else out of the way. Because I imagine there'll be quite a queue of people waiting to get on that.
That's what my character, what the detective journalist does to relax.
Plays Euro Simulator, Truck Simulator.
Well, he can't really. Yeah, he plays like truck simulating games. Gonna put that in the story.
Okay. Maybe.
And he's a drunk. Of course, he has to be.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe he drives a truck that keeps the motorbike in the back for his his truck as his mobile base, much like Knight Rider again, and then he could ride back onto the truck, onto the back of the truck and stuff.
That's overthinking it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Crazy. But he has to be a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. Okay. As every good journalist is, or wants to be.
Detective.
And every good detective. Yeah, that's true.
And also, it's going to be like really noir.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll keep working on that one. Still no title yet. I haven't thought of a title, but we'll get it anyway. So, what else we got? Firefox. Firefox developers have improved string encoding. That sounds riveting.
Well,
string encoding is important, but
well, till you see what kind of strings.
UTF-16 code unit. Okay. String characters. Oh, yeah. String characters. Okay. Blah 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 blah. All right. So it's a JavaScript thing.
Camel toes.
The JS engine can now score Latin 1 strings. Blah blah blah.
It's faster because they changed the string encoding in JavaScript. Who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
This is in Firefox Nightly, so you can look forward to it, I think, in Firefox 33.
And Firefox Nightly's got the we talked about this, I think, but it's got the live IDE thing in it as well, which you can turn on apparently.
And then live G strings.
Yep. I think you said cheese strings then.
Yeah, and
cheese strings are quite nice.
Cheese string encoding also improved.
Yep.
More string for your buck.
Sticking with programming languages or similar things, Microsoft's TrueScript, TypeScript, sorry, not TrueScript, TypeScript,
JavaScript replacement thing.
Yeah,